the fuck you wanna be? Like I am what I am, I'm just saying. Homie, this is me. If only you could see, this is who I am, man. Understand? You can choose to be who the fuck you wanna be.
Yo, what's up everyone? NGK here. Apologies on the voice right now, I'm actually hell sick, so just thought I'd jump on today. It's a beautiful Sunday here in Perth. Just making another episode today in my series for advice for artists. Having a few things come up with work and just around my life, and yeah, a lot of stuff's coming through, so I just wanted to touch up on a topic that I think is affecting artists and that really can help them and give some value. Now, I keep forgetting what I'm even talking about in all of these episodes, so I might even be repeating myself, but whatever. I really just wanted to focus on this episode, Advice for Artists, predominantly on this topic. What it is essentially the amount of music artists are releasing. I think it's a really big discussion because I keep seeing so many artists right now in the scene, in the industry, and I'm hearing from a lot of artists and a lot of managers, etc., of how much music people are actually releasing and people's artists' catalog of music, and it really seems to be lacking. And I've been watching it, and it's really has been confusing me. But from what I've gathered, it really is just coming down to the artists themselves kind of worrying or caring about other people's opinions. I really think that is the core of it. I know some people would be saying, oh no, well, it's marketing, it's branding, and like a lot of artists signed to labels, that may be part of it. But just in general, I think it's predominantly artists getting caught in their head. And I really just wanted to make this episode to really kind of, give my value and give my energy to artists, to make them aware of this. Look, I think artists are getting caught up in their egos and in their heads, and they're worried about what they think people want to hear. I know so many artists that are creating a ton of music. There's so many artists out there that are fucking creating day in, day out because that's what they love. It's their passion. Creating music is their life. And there's so much music to be released, yet they're getting to the final products and they're just not hearing what they think they want to hear, and they're judging that section because they don't think the market's going to take it that way. And it's just a loophole. It is all about a catalog. You never know what anyone wants to hear. Like, it is a literal fact. When you are authentic to yourself and you are creating something from emotion, something that is true to you, there will always be someone who will fuck with it. And don't misinterpret what I'm saying right now. I'm not saying release every single piece of work that you make, because there are going to be shit songs. There are going to be shit like music, and finding that line really has to be a self-aware thing, and having others around you to communicate that to. It's always good to show your music to other people and get second and third opinions, because you can just get stuck in your head. From what I'm seeing, where artists are putting that line is just so far from where I think it should be. I think people are really worrying too much. And it's loopholing them, and thus it's resulting in them not releasing enough music. It is a huge issue I keep seeing. It is all about a catalog. Like, I do not agree with any form of strategical marketing or whatever it is that results in not releasing a certain amount of music to build hype for this, and I'm just specifically talking about on the come up, alright? This advice is purely for the come up. I understand marketing strategies and hype changes as you become more successful and drops and releases become more impactful. But we're talking at ridiculous levels. We're talking about when you're touring and selling out shows and you've got millions of monthly listeners. This isn't about that. This is about the come up. This is at the most primal state of becoming a successful artist, where everything, engagement with audience, content is key. Like, your primary content is your music. If you are stuck only dropping songs here and there, and waiting months and months, it's like you're just digging yourself. You're losing so much momentum and traction and relationship building with your supporters and the fans, the people that are fucking with your music and fuck with you. And look, I've seen so many mixed views about this that I simply, in my own opinion, I just do not agree with. I've heard a lot of and a lot of people I respect as well, and it's a very interesting subject of, well, I don't think you should release this much music, and because you need to focus on marketing this for that amount, you don't want to oversaturate it, you don't want to compete with yourself with numbers, you don't want to spread numbers across platforms. Like, I've heard it all, and I just do not agree with it whatsoever. I don't think that is a reasonable cause for an upcoming artist who is trying to get their music heard by more people. I just don't believe it's an acceptable reasoning behind not releasing enough music. Like I said, I understand the whole point of, yes, you need to market music and push it, but what about when you're not even reaching anyone, and you're like, when you're doing that, like that, those types of strategies only relate to artists when they're on and they're doing it. I do not believe it relates to artists when you're trying to get heard and you're trying to put yourself on and you're grinding. Man, like, when you are creating something and you have a finalized song and it is authentic to you and you're on the come up, fucking release it. Yes, think about marketing strategies. Yes, you've got to push it. Like, you've always got to be thinking that, but don't let that stop you from releasing X, Y, and Z. Like, I feel like that's just a huge excuse. Oh, well, I don't want to release these 3 because it's going to cross over into my marketing for this one. No one gives a fuck. Like, no one gives a flying fuck about what you're releasing. If you're an upcoming artist, no one cares. You're on the grind because you're trying to get people to hear it. There's not enough people listening to you to give a fuck. So none of that shit affects you in any way possible. Please start releasing more music. As a listener myself, the one thing I'm always looking for, the one thing that really sticks to me when I find an artist that I really vibe with is, what more do they have? Oh my, when you get put onto an artist, you always get put on by a singular song, something, whether it's a friend, whether it's playing on the radio, whether you find it on Spotify, whatever it is. Your first thing is going to that artist and listening to more of their music. What else do they have? When you find that and you find an artist that has 4, 5, 6 songs, there's not enough. There's not enough storytelling for you to become a hardcore fan. It is all about building the relationship and having content to back you up. And that is why building a catalog is the #1 strategy for an artist in today's generation. And I will always use Ross as a reference. Not only is this a beneficial thing and a beneficial marketing strategy in the long term and for longevity in terms of building a fan base, it is also going to pay off multitudes of dividends in the long run when you do start getting numbers coming towards you. Because all it takes is that one song. When you have a catalog behind you, one song does it for you and pushes everyone under the catalog. Your royalties will start kicking in and it will just be a domino effect right there. There are multitudes of benefits. But like I said, this is a longevity. This is a patience game. And I feel like also artists aren't thinking like that with that mentality because they're not in it for the long run. They're not in it for the patience game. If you truly love music and you are truly authentic to yourself, you know this is a marathon. You know this is going to take time. But limiting the amount of songs you're releasing is just like shooting yourself in the foot. It's only going to extend the time that it's going to take to become a successful artist, to be a full-time and live your dream. Start releasing more songs. Allow the listeners to engage with you, you vibe, you feel different energies, and just become a fan. If you're an artist and you have music in the bank that is like acceptable, just purely to an acceptable level of you being authentic with it, and you created it in a time of creative juices in your head, fucking release that shit. Don't listen to anyone who's saying all this nonsense. Like, I'm big on this. Build a catalog. That is your #1 asset as an artist, and building your fan base. Yeah, but I hope that helps someone. I hope someone really resonates with that, or someone's been feeling stuck with that and not knowing whether to release this because they're hearing it from other people. Fucking release that shit. Like, straight up, release that shit as much as you can, to a certain extent of quality, but as much as you can. 100%. Alright, thanks guys, appreciate it. See you guys on the next episode, I guess. Like I said, if you're vibing with this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and please hit me up if there's any questions. If you're an artist, you have any questions, you want me to touch on something, hit me up. I am so down to provide value, offer as much help as I can through my experience. Big love, guys. All the best.
Monday come around, she on a calm now, but she told me she never popped a pill. I should never trust her.